Everyone, hey, congratulations on your new movie, Almost Popular.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
This is such a reminiscence of all these different high school comedy movies, and you folks did a terrific job. But let's hear it first. Is Nayib? Tell us what drew you that you wanted to direct Almost Popular.
I needed a job. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Um, no,
That part.
I think everything starts out like that. You're like, oh, a possible job. Let's see what it's in. But actually, this became kind of like a family event because I had worked with Sarah. She was an actor in a music video I directed 5 or some years ago, and I think Sarah was maybe 12 or 13, and I had met her through that. Couple years down the road, industry friend introduces me to a person with a script, and they're like, "Hey, I think you should meet this person." It turns out to be Sarah's mother. So just by chance, I happened to meet Sarah on a project I worked with her before, and then her mother happened to be like, "Hey, I think you would be perfect for this. I have this idea or this movie. Would you read the script?" I read the script. I called her and I was like, "I think we can like make something really amazing." So we spent a good 6 or 7 months, even with Sarah, working on the script, getting it to a place where we were like super excited. And it was something that I was such a big high school movie fan. Like I loved American Pie, Superbad, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Can't Hardly Wait, all those movies that you feel in this, you feel their ghosts and their presence in this film is because I love those movies. That's how I really got to experience the high school experience. Was through film and TV. I was very much raised by the TV. So I had an encyclopedia of movies, and I was like, I get to make my very own version of this. Um, and we worked our way through that. And like you said, I think a lot of people my age or older keep saying like, "Oh my God, it reminds me of these films," and I'm like, "Great." I'm glad I brought back that feeling with a little bit of a new twist.
Wow. Sarah, can you respond to the fact how Nayib brought you, directly into this project in a much more direct route than many other people?
Yeah, for sure. I had a different experience. I was very pissed about the film at first because I didn't want to come across as, like kind of nepo baby almost in a sense, since my mom wrote it. And I felt very much a lot of pressure to do well because I was put in, I have acted, but never in the sense of something like this. And I was put in with extremely professional actors and actresses who had great resumes and amazing films. And I was like, wait, I'm not sure that I'm like ready for all of this. Like, what's going on here? But I did still have to audition and do all of that. And originally, Susie was kind of the character that I had my eye on a little bit, but that's the lead, that's the main character. And of course, Ruby is an amazing actress and she outdid anybody that could ever have played this character. And I got Darby Duncan, which I'm very happy with and extremely satisfied and very happy that I got a role that is significant but definitely a little bit smaller so that I wasn't super under a ton of pressure and tweaking every single day. But it's a very family based film. This film, I recognize most scenes from my real everyday life and my friendships, and everything in this film is true almost in some way, and every character is true in some kind of way. So it was very cool to watch this come to life and be in the process 3 years ago, compared to now.
Yeah,
Wow.
Sarah was the
And,
birth of a lot of the humor in this because she would run the scenes. And when she started playing the scenes, I was like, oh, this is funny. So Sarah helped me and Pam really get this to a place. So I thought it was big of her to like be like, look, whatever is best for the project. And as the film kept growing, we were like, oh, Ruby wants to be in it. Isabella's in it. And then we casted Ellodee. So like it grew to something way bigger than we ever expected. At first, we were like, we're just gonna make this cute little movie. And then as the script got better and better, and I saw what it could be, we just kept getting it, we just kept adding things, and now we're here.
Oh wow.
Wow. Ellodee, tell us what drew you into this project.
Immediately when I got the first audition for it, I read the scenes and I loved the scenes so much. It was particularly the scene where they show up in the same outfit at school was my audition. And I filmed it once and I was happy with it and I showed a few people and then I was like, oh, actually, I feel like I could do this a little better. And so I came back and I did it another day and I did my hair like really glam and I really glammed up the character and then did the scenes again. And that tape was just like so stellar. And I was so proud of it and sent it in and booked the role and was over the moon and couldn't wait to bring Vicky to the screen.
That is awesome. El, Ellodee, not to age oneself, but what was it like playing a young teen in this film?
It was honestly pretty easy. I feel like I'm around so many younger teens and everybody, I feel like I'm on like the cusp of I think it's called the zillennial, like the millennial
Oh,
Gen Z cusp. I know, right? New term.
right.
So I definitely can relate to the millennials, but also being around the Gen Z people in my day-to-day life. Like it's so easy to pick up on, and I'm on TikTok and social media and Instagram that I know all the trends and I know the lingo and how they talk, and just like it was very easy for me to just click into that high school mentality.
Elodie was the first audition where Pam, the writer, called me and she was like, "You have to watch her." Um, and I saw her tape and I was like, "Oh, this is her." We obviously had her audition a bunch of times or a couple times more and everything like that, but that was the first person because I called Ruby to be in the film and Isabella I talked to be in the film. So Elodie was our character who we hadn't like we hadn't seen someone acted out a role yet and booked them in it. I was just
When there
booking.
was no one specifically in mind for the
Yes,
character.
exactly. So Elodie was just like a breath of fresh air. I feel like this is her welcoming party, and people are going to see how talented she is. But she was the first person that we casted off auditions. We obviously casted Ruby and Isabella one and two, and then Elodie was our third, and I believe Reed was our fourth. So I once I saw those four kids, I was like, oh my God, these kids are amazing actors. They're gonna knock it out of the park.
And for me, it was just a dream role because I love the comedy aspect of it and like the exaggerated, heightened high school dilemma. So I had a blast playing it.
And Sarah, you were a young teen when this was filmed 3 years ago, and you were living that life. I mean,
Still am,
there's like,
still am.
yeah, that is such a parallel to make this movie while living it at the same time.
Yeah, I think for sure in acting nowadays, it's very much older people, probably like 20s or at least above 18, always playing a high schooler or younger. And while we were filming, I want to say I was 15, maybe 14. So very much zero clue of what I've got going on myself or what's happening, to be honest, and still feeling out high school. I was a freshman going into my sophomore year. We filmed it the summer in between, and I was nervous for sure, especially because this film is coming out my senior year of high school still. And so it's like all these kids are going to see it, and then I'm going to have to go to school with them and they're going to say something. And and they're like, oh, wait, why do I recognize that? And it's like, well, because you did it 3 years ago at school, but who's going to tell them that part? Who's going to tell them? No, I'm just kidding. But for sure, a lot of it is very much real. And as a senior, I am a little bit nervous because it is very much based in my small town where everyone talks, which is exciting stuff for sure, but I might have a little explaining to do.
Now, could you tell us your approach to comedy in a film like this? Like do you approach like each scene sort of like a short sketch?
Yeah, so I did a lot of research. I spent days just going back into my discography of films and the films that I loved. And uh, me and Ruby worked off characters like Jim Carrey. Um, like I would tell her, hey, like what would Jim Carrey do? Because we want to put in a little bit of body humor. I uh I studied acting and improv for a couple years before I shifted over into directing 15 years ago. So I had that background of improv and acting, and I love comedy. I fancy myself as someone who's kind of funny. Um, so uh, I would just go, we would do a scene and I'd go, I think we can make it funnier. Like, hey, what about this? What about that? So everything was experimental. I didn't, I always let the actors do what they're gonna do before I jump in and say, let's do this. A lot of the times the actors would come to me, be like, please, can I try this? Even though I had something else in my head. And 9 out of 10 times that idea of theirs was just so much more fresh and better. We didn't have a lot of takes. So everything you see in this movie, it's not like one of these big films where they just sit there and run improv for an hour on one scene. We didn't have that. You had you had 3 takes to be funny, and if you weren't funny on the third take, on the fourth take, it was like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So these kids were on it and they were knocking it out of the park. I wish I could give more like that I did more for it, but they were just funny. We just casted really funny kids and they would just th- there was no restraint. I didn't want to restrain anyone. I was like, it's okay to look dumb on this film. Sometimes I would roll on the floor. Sometimes I would pretend to be one of the pop girls. Like I would do whatever it did to help the actors feel comfortable to go there. Because a lot of actors have that, like, oh, I would have done this. And I'm like, do it, do it, do it. Don't put any walls up. This is a small movie. Just do it. Why? Like, don't put any walls up and think you're gonna look dumb. Let's look dumb together. So I think it was a safe environment for people to try things, and we didn't have that many takes, so they were just on it. I don't even know how I approached it, but every scene we just tried to just add little touches here and there. Fall off the bed, look at your person, or throw a little improv in there. Everything was just fun. We tried to keep it so lighthearted and fun, even though I was going to another room and having mental breakdowns. I would come on set and be like, that was great. Let's do that again. It was so much fun. So I think it's about keeping that atmosphere and having the actors trust you because they are the ones who are gonna fall or be silly or say something outrageous. And I always gave them that space to do that. I think that's what's most important is that you let the actors play, and we got lucky a lot of the time. I hope
Well,
that answers your question.
it does, and it surely shows very well because you
Thank
could
you.
tell the chemistry and camaraderie.
Thank
Well,
you.
I just want to present one more thing before I part because the fact is all you folks play these high school students at Clovis High very very well. So I wanted just to in rather than asking my last question, I'm going to show you this is actually a high school
What?
yearbook from Clovis High School. So
Oh,
there are 2 Clovis High schools in the nation, and that
You're
would be me.
lying!
gosh.
Wait.
Hi,
Wait!
Kaylee.
That is amazing. What
That is
year is this?
So this
incredible.
so
Oh my
this
God.
is 19. Let me see if I could show it. 1992.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So Sarah, you could tell your mother that somehow you created a fictional Clovis High School, and a person who actually attended a real Clovis High School in
Oh my
Clovis,
God.
California, actually watched this film, and it's Clovis High School Cougars. Is
Wait!
the
Oh
high school
Wait,
name.
my gosh! You're
who are the
lying!
Cougars in the
You're
film?
literally lying! Wait, are you? I'm sorry, I have to ask. Are you from Clovis, like 559, like Fresno?
Yes, I
No, wait.
actually
That's
calling from Fresno right now.
that's where Sarah
You're
lives.
lying. Okay, so it's not you where it's based off your school, 1000%. That is the school that it was made off of. I live very close by and I go to a very tiny school near. So that is so cool. Wow. I feel honored.
Yeah, that's that's
Pam is gonna
that
love that.
Yeah.
The writer is gonna
So-
love that.
So, anyways, thank you very much for carrying this conversation for us about the Almost Popular. It is a delightful movie, and thank you for
so
the
much.
new Clovis High memories.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
That's crazy.
Bye.
Bye now.